Lieutenant, 6 others reportedly killed as terrorists ambush Nigerian army convoy. 6 years after, Kano man still searching for his missing family. Reactions trail increase in electricity tariff. And on international scene, Russia evacuates over 4,000 people after dam burst. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Now the news. Suspected members of Boko Haram have ambushed a military vehicle conveying a lieutenant and other soldiers along the Borno-Yobe Road. The road that links Borno and Yobe states has remained a death trap as it has witnessed a series of deadly attacks in the recent past. Sources said the attack, which occurred on Thursday evening, led to the killing of the lieutenant officer, a driver, gunner, and 4 other soldiers. Unconfirmed reports say several number of terrorists were killed during an exchange of gunfire with troops near Kamuya village, just a few kilometers drive from Buratai, the hometown of former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukro Buratai, retired. A security source also confirmed the development on Saturday. Now joining us via phone call to give an update is Daily Trust North East Bureau Chief Hamisu Matazu. Hamisu, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Okay, so can you give us a confirmation of this reported attacks by the authorities of the Theatre Command in the Northeast?
Yes, it happened on last Thursday. And it was an ambush on the military vehicle that is going to Damaturu on their way to Damaturu to get fuel for the soldiers in Buratai. Yes, and what happened was that I think they were overwhelmed by the number of insurgents that came out. I think they have planned the ambush and attack them on their way to Damaturu along Damaturu-Biu Road.
Okay, so can you clarify further the number of people that were casualties from this incident, and of course maybe their ranks, possibly, if you have that information?
Yes, based on the information we get, was a lieutenant that was killed in the vehicle, and 6 others were killed. But just now, the Assistant Director of Army Public Relations of the Sector 2, Damaturu, Captain Muhammad Shehu, called. And he only confirmed the date of the lieutenant, which the name is withheld, and in the ambush. But he said that the 6 officers were still responding to treatment. So I think that's what we have gotten as an update from the military. However, security sources told us that 6 soldiers also paid a supreme price, and they are the soldiers of 135 Special Force, DNA Force in Buratai, that in Buratai, that's the hometown of the former Quas.
So now, just before you go, can you give us a picture of the perceived resurgence of terrorists in the region, whom have appeared to be on the offensive in recent times?
To be fair to the military, they are doing their best. And recently we have not recorded much of attacks by the insurgents, especially in that axis. Because for a very long time, we have not witnessed any attack in that area. Notwithstanding I think, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? There was a similar attack, though the attack was on a primary school in View Axis. They burnt it down, but there was no loss of life. And also, in some places, we heard of some attempted attacks, but they were repelled by the military. So I think, the military have been trying, but with what the information we are getting from those places, I think the military have to put more effort to ensure that those places are safe.
Okay, thank you so much, Hamisu Matazu, not East Bureau Chief of Daily Trust. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Still staying with security now, troops of the Nigerian Army have neutralized 3 terrorists in a village in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State. The terrorists were neutralized while in transit to repair their motorcycles. The Nigerian Army, in a statement on its official X handle, said the troops acted on credible intelligence which targeted the terrorist group known for using motorbikes to carry out nefarious activities in the region. Items recovered from them are 1 AK-47 rifle, 1 stock AK-47 rifle, 4 motorbikes and 1 Motorola radio. Members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, otherwise known as Shiites, have buried 5 of their members allegedly killed when police fired shots to disperse their Quds Day procession in Kaduna on Friday. The police public relations officer in the state, ASP Mansur Hassan, who had debunked the allegations that they killed members of the IMN, noted that no live ammunition was used to disperse the procession. However, confirmed that 3 personnel were injured and taken to the hospital for treatment. Speaking after the burial rites, Aliyu, one of the leaders of the movement, said 25 people were also injured, some in critical condition. He frowned at the police's denial of using live ammunition, saying there are video clips showing the police firing at their members. He asked the police to use such force on kidnappers and bandits having a field day in the state rather than on innocent citizens. In Kaduna State, the police have rescued 100 kidnapped victims and eliminated 5 suspected bandits terrorizing residents across the state. The spokesman of the command, ASP Sadiq Abubakar, disclosed this while briefing newsmen on the activities of the command in the month of March 2024. Abdullah Yamadi tells us more.
According to Abubakar, during the period under review, the command also apprehended 11 suspected killers and 29 suspected rapists, adding that it recovered over 658 domestic animals from suspected bandits across the state. The PPRO added that 51 criminal cases have been reported to the police, including armed robbery, culpable homicide, kidnapping for ransom and cattle rustling, among others, in the month of March. According to the command, 9 suspects were arrested for robbery-related offenses, while 19 sundry cases in connection with incitement, intimidations, and membership of gangs were also recorded.
This first case is that of the arrest of 3 suspected armed robbers and the recovery of 2 suspected stolen phones. On the 21st of March 2024, at about 23:00 hours, the command succeeded in arresting the trio of 1 Mohammed Haliru, male of Unguwar Sodenji Quarters, Malumfashi local government area of the state, and 2 Mohammed Nuhu, male aged 19 years old of Sodenji Quarters of Malumfashi local government area, and 1 Hamza Bala, male aged 19 years of Paymaster Quarters, also in Malumfashi local government area, in connection with a suspected case of criminal conspiracy and armed robbery.
The police also assured that out of the number of cases reported, 30 involving 64 suspects have been charged to courts of competent jurisdiction, for prosecution. The police command, while assuring of its relentless commitments to rid the state of criminals elements, however, solicited continuous support and cooperation from residents, urging them not to give up until the enemies of the state are defeated. Abdullahi Izuma Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
A Kano-based man, Shazali Yahaya is seeking the help of the state and the federal government, as well as well-meaning Nigerians, to locate his wife and 5 children who went missing in 2018. Their great father, who has sought the help of a judicial committee of inquiry set up by the Kano state government to investigate cases of missing children, says he's yet to locate them 6 years down the line. In an exclusive interview with Trust TV, Sani revealed that over the past 6 years, he had exhausted all his life savings trying to locate his family, whom he believes is still alive somewhere.
6 years after the disappearance of his wife and 5 children, Shazali Sani makes a desperate cry for help. Shazali, an auto mechanic, expresses his anguish, having exhausted his savings in searching for his missing family, whom he believes are still alive.
December, ta tafi Jos za ta je ta ga babanta, ta tafi da yarana guda 5 'ya'yanta.
My nightmare started in December 2017 when my wife traveled to Plateau State with my children, and they had the intention then to return back after the New Year break was over. That was the last I set eyes on my wife and 5 kids. I called her and she told me she was with her father in Jos, and later when I tried to call, I could not reach her. I called her father and mother, and both of them said they have no idea of her whereabouts. Efforts by Shazali to know the whereabouts of his children made him appear before a Kano State Judicial Committee of Inquiry into cases of missing children. He says his plea for intervention has led nowhere, leaving him in emotional trauma over his family's mysterious disappearance. I have searched and I have been to Lagos and Abuja once I hear any clue from her family about where she might be. Her mother was invited to the panel and she made a confession that convinced me that my kids and wife are still alive. I am optimistic my children are somewhere kept away from me for the past 6 years for no reason. I have the feeling they are alive. I tried all my possible best. I am still pleading with the authorities concerned to assist me in recovering my family. Abdul Samad was 12 when he was taken. Khulthum was 11 years at the time. Zainab was just 9. Yusuf was 7 years and my Sadiq was 5 years old, while my wife was 31 as at the time they got missing. As the search continues, Shazali holds on to hope, longing for the day his family will return home.
Now, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has issued new directives to electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, on the implementation of the April 2024 multi-year tariff order. The directives were contained in a statement signed by NERC's Deputy General Manager, Market Competition and Rates, Abba Terab, on Saturday. NERC had on Wednesday ordered the immediate upward review of electricity tariffs from Wednesday, 3rd April. NERC's Vice Chairperson, Musiliu Usaini, who disclosed this while speaking at a press conference in Abuja on Wednesday, explained that only electricity customers in Band A would be affected by the increase. He noted that the increase will not affect Bands B, C, D, and E, adding that a number of customers previously on Band A have been reduced. Still staying with that story, reacting, the Pan-Yoruba social-cultural group Afenifere has condemned the recent hike in electricity tariff and ask President Tinubu to compel the Ministry of Power to reverse the increase. A foreign affairs comment followed the Nigerian Electricity Distribution Company's electricity tariff hike for Band A users, who are mainly consumers who enjoy at least 20 hours of power supply. In a Saturday statement, the group said the increment amounts to paying for inefficiency and further compounding the country's economic woes. The Pan-Yoruba Social, Cultural and Political Organization decried the over 200% electricity tariff increase, saying that it will thwart the current administration's effort at boosting the economy as businesses will shrink. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has equally joined the growing list of critics faulting the federal government's hike in electricity tariff and believes the move will further compound the citizens' economic difficulties. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Council and NIRC days ago jacked up the tariff for Band A consumers who enjoy at least 20 hours daily supply of power as part of moves to stop the payment of subsidy on electricity. But Atiku, who was the PDP presidential candidate in last year's election, says the move will further compound the economic woes of a country bucked in surging inflation levels pegged at 31.70%. Writing on his X handle, Atiku said the increase comes at a time when Nigerian citizens are going through excruciating difficulties occasioned by the withdrawal of subsidy on PMS and floating of the domestic currency. While noting that the government has not successfully dealt with the pains associated with the implementation of those measures, the former VP said the hike in electricity tariffs will create more difficulties for the citizens as inflationary pressures are elevated. He argued that the rise in tariffs won't solve the challenges of the sector. This is the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead. As new farming season sets in, Kano farmer decries soaring fertilizer prices. More when we return, please do stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, the news hour on Trust TV. Now a look at some of our top stories. Lieutenants, 6 others reportedly killed as terrorists ambushed Nigerian army convoy. And we also told you that 6 years after, Kano man still searching for his missing family. 2 more stories. At least 1 person has been confirmed killed and another missing following a flood disaster which ravaged Nguroje community in Sardona local government area of Taraba State. The heavy downpour, which lasted for hours, rendered many homeless and destroyed farmlands. Confirming the incident, Taraba State House of Assembly member representing Nguroje constituency, Nelson Lenz, described the incident as unfortunate. According to him, the flood is the first of its kind in the area. He said construction of waterways channels has commenced to avert a recurrence, adding that relief materials will be sent to victims to help address their plight. Voters in the Biseni area of Bayelsa State have described the April 6 local government elections as free and fair. They gave the verdict shortly after casting their votes for those to represent them at third tier of government. Friday, Ibmobawe Peter completes the report.
Speaking shortly after casting his vote in Unit 6, Ward 13 of Biseni 2 at Bolo Disawari Hall, some of the candidates described the conduct of the exercise as peaceful.
So far so good. The process has been seamless and it's going on smoothly. No challenge in the course of the voting, only the challenge is that for logistic reasons, the SIAC staff who are supposed to, the ad hoc staff to conduct the election, came in a little late. I suggest that they should improve on the planning on logistics so that the process can start early and end early so that the voters will not stay in the sun and wait for too long.
The process was okay, very okay. They are very okay. I appreciate them. I thank each and every one of them. All the security forces that has come from far and near. It was perfect.
Some voters also reviewed the process and passed a favorable judgment for the exercise.
No, there was no challenge because the councillor from this ward is also from this unit. And so it was 100% and it was very peaceful. More so, the chairman also is from Biseni, even though it's from the other unit, the other ward 13. But we know that it's a collective something, so there was no fracas. Election started a bit late. Election started about 9:30 in this place because we were waiting for them since 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. But we now query them. They say because of logistics, they were sharing the material from Yanagwa down this side. So you can see the voters.
The process is very, very transparent, very, very perfect. Very, very perfect, 100% perfect. So the situation is very calm. You can see all policemen headed by the area commander himself. Assistant Commissioner of Police led the team, and they are all around. Security is calm. Everywhere is calm.
Nice. It's good. This process people are following is very, very nice.
The April 6th local government election in Bayelsa State is coming a year and 8 months after the expiration of the last elected chairman and councillors across the state, with the council areas being supervised by caretaker committee members. From Yanagwa, Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yanagwa.
The Assembly of Trade Unionists and Labour Veterans in Lagos State on Friday demanded the immediate resignations of the duo of the National President of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC, Joe Ajaero, and the National Chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, over what they described as, quote, an endless tussle for the control of the party. The Assembly spokesman and former NLC National Vice President Issa Tijani disclosed this during a press conference in Lagos on Friday. Now, Abbas Talibi tells us more.
The veteran labor leaders and trade unionists accused the duo of Ajaero and Abure of deliberately abandoning the constitutional responsibility of their respective offices to pursue a personal aggrandizement rather than the collective welfare of the Nigerian workers, as is evident in the unfolding crisis reckoning the apex leadership structure of Labour Party.
The discomforting aspect of this unfortunate situation is the resultant callous and complete abandonment of the constitutional duties and core responsibilities duly bestowed upon these leaders, namely to strongly promote and protect the rights and freedoms of the toiling members against any form of unlawful encroachment by some individuals, government, or the organized private sector.
Tijani also accused Ajaero and Abure of focusing their full attention on petty thrift, a situation the federal, state, and local government leverage on to optimally exploit Nigerians' workers through the introduction of unpalatable economic measures that will keep them and their families in a permanent state of penury.
From the federal government side, sudden and abrupt withdrawal of petroleum subsidy, to the drastic devaluation of the national currency, and the newly announced insensitive hike in the cost of the electricity tariff, the abysmal failure of the leaders of the labor unions and the Labour Party to provide credible challenge to this anti-people's policy are indeed sufficient basis for Nigerian workers to demand their resignation without any further delay.
Flanked by other veterans, Tijani, a former Nupeng National Deputy President, said his assembly was pained by the situation, stressing that amounted to the complete abandonment of the constitutional duties and core responsibilities duly bestowed upon the leaders. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Over in Benue State, calls for local government autonomy returned to the front burner on Friday after the State Independent Electoral Commission released its timetable for electoral activities that will culminate in the conduct of local government elections in July 2024. While the efforts of the new umpire in the state are described as steps in the right direction, many residents are worried that unless the third tier of government is granted full autonomy, development at that level will not be fully achieved. Jimmy Azande reports.
Amongst other activities, BCEC is also asking the public to forward proposals for the creation of additional council wards in the state. They welcome the idea of conducting elections, but insist that if autonomy is not granted to the third tier of government, it will amount to nothing for the locals.
So if the autonomy is given to them, it will be a welcome idea, and then the masses will also benefit so richly from it, and you will discover that some of the things that are needed to be approved by the state government, now the local chairman will be able to have access to begin to maybe go into developments and then several other things. And I want to believe that they can also be answerable to the masses, because since the local government level is the grassroots of the government.
Governor Hyacinth Elia recently constituted a BCEC team and charged them to conduct credible elections.
It is a matter of distribution of labor. The local government chairman or the local government now will have power and autonomy to do certain things, to do certain projects for the masses. Like there are some local roles that are supposed to be done by the local government chairman, but because of lack of finances, heavy dependency on the governor, he can't do them.
I suggest the government should go closer and not only make pronouncements, but also help them financially in getting all of these stuff done, because in that way everything will be more easier and faster, and the level of poverty and other stuff will be reduced as well. So I suggest the government should pay close attention to the people at the grassroots level.
In Benue State, there is a rise to rural to urban migration due to lack of basic infrastructure at the local government areas, a situation many blame on lack of autonomy at that level of government. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
On health-related matters over in Katsina State, the state government has constituted a committee to monitor and sensitize residents against ripening fruits with carbide and other hazardous materials. This, according to the state government, follows several reports it has received indicating that fruit distillers and sellers use carbide in speeding up the process of ripening fruits, an act the government says is posing health hazards to consumers. Abdullah Yamadi tells us more.
Shortly after inaugurating the committee, the Permanent Secretary, Katsina State Ministry of Health, Tijani Hamza, asked members to work towards saving lives, noting that the government will support efforts geared towards ensuring a healthy society. The committee's work is also expected to impact on the health and safety of people, with emphasis on the need to regulate the activities of restaurants, bakeries, and other food vendors.
The main goal of the committee is to prevent foodborne illnesses, protect health of the public, maintain an updated database for all public food beverages points and vendors, and promote good hygiene practices across the state as regards to food and beverages.
The government is also encouraging residents to expose any fruits dealer or seller found wanting, assuring that the committee will explore all legal means to prosecute offenders. Meanwhile, some fruit sellers in the state have debunked insinuations that they are using carbide in ripening fruits, saying the last time they heard of this practice in Katsina was in 1987, adding that their association has been dealing with offenders. We don't use carbide because if you ripen your orange or banana with carbide, the fruits will only look attractive to the eyes. But the tendency is that they will get spoiled after 2 days only. This means that the practice is detrimental to us. That was why we don't engage in it. This same issue came up in 2007, and that prompted us to form an association which, among other things, is to inspect and regulate the activities of all members. So, for me, the committee has nothing to do with us, but we'll support it. Though the move is seen as a welcome development, Katsina residents are, however, advising the committee to focus more on sensitization, which is key to ensuring its success. Abdullahi Izuma Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now, the ongoing relocation of displaced persons from internally displaced persons camps back to their communities in Borno State by the Zulum administration is set to continue despite setbacks due to attacks by insurgents. The Borno State Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Usman Tar, echoed the state government's drive to continue addressing the humanitarian crisis in the state, while also giving an update on the recent IDP campfires in Maiduguri during an exclusive interview with Trust TV.
The relocation of IDPs back to their ancestral homes is a deliberate policy of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum. It came to our realization that the continued stay of the IDPs in the urban areas and in foreign countries is no longer sustainable. It has increased our bill in terms of palliatives and also in terms of sustenance of the camps. Yes, IDPs are willing to go back, and we have a solemn duty to ensure their safety and security. So village by village, local government by local government, the federal forces have the Operation Hadinkai has helped us in order to deploy troops to secure those villages and towns. Well, we have received reports, situation reports on the deliberate infernos by some entities, but this is a matter that is being investigated. The person that made that claim is in detention, and the NGOs that he pinpointed have been summoned for interrogation.
As this year's preparations for rice farming gears up in Kano, some farmers have been expressing concern with the high cost of agricultural inputs. In this report, Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that a bag of fertilizer now costs between 30,300 naira and 40,000 naira, a situation the farmers say does not go down well with them.
Muhammad Yau is an irrigation rice farmer in Kura. For several years, he has been cultivating 3 hectares of rice, but this year he is only able to cultivate 1 hectare. High cost of fertilizer, seeds, and other agricultural inputs are largely responsible for the current situation.
To gaskiya dai kusan kalubale da aka fuskanta a wannan noman na rani.
You see, fertilizer is too expensive. Today we are buying fertilizer at between 32,000 naira to 40,000 naira. And then seed, if you want also good seed, you have to spend a lot of money. Now you can see clearing of the land and having good seeds, coupled with several other agricultural inputs that we use for the cultivation. Things are very expensive, and therefore we expect the worst this year. Shehu Sani is at the transplanting stage. He says last year he had 70 bags of rice paddy, but this year he is not sure of cultivating up to 20 bags.
Last
year in this place I had cultivated 70 bags of rice paddy, but I can tell you this year I'm not sure if I will be able to cultivate up to 20 bags. because I could not, I was unable to cultivate the required number of hectare that I cultivated last year. According to All Farmers Association of Nigeria, the lack of government intervention and the failure of some international donor agencies to fully participate on irrigation rice farming are the major contributory factors that may likely lead to poor harvest this year.
The input they are given is sufficient for you to cultivate a hectare. But you know there are farmers now who can do 2, 3 or even much more hectares. So at least that one is another source of input as far as farmers is concerned. Only that we have another concern on top of that one, the mismanagement, the diversion of the input by those who are saddled with the responsibility maybe to distribute the input to us.
The farmers say this year may likely witness shortage of rice paddy due to their inability to cultivate the required hectares as a result of these disturbing challenges.
The challenges to us now is input, high cost of input. And you know, irrigation farming requires you to water your farm. So our next challenge, which is very important as well, is a provision of water, especially for those farmers that are doing their farms along the water channels from the Hadi Jama'are channels section.
Despite this, with effective government intervention that requires dealing with the real farmers and timely intervention to agricultural sector, things may likely change for the better. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Moving to Imo State, where residents are calling for the rejuvenation of subsistence farming across the country as part of efforts to achieve food sufficiency. The call is coming in the wake of the current high cost of food items in all markets across the nation. Achibade Praise tells us more.
According to many, the culture of subsistence farming, where most homes produce their foods in the years back, was a lifesaver. The practice provides families with the opportunity to produce their food rather than going to buy from the market. It helped to achieve sufficiency for average homes and kept prices of foodstuffs in the market at reasonable rates. Sadly, it is no longer so today, as Nigerians have abandoned this significant culture following civilization and development.
The reason why we are suffering today is because we have less farmers in our country, and we engage ourselves in more packaged food. So if farming can be revived in Nigeria, in various families, I think cost of feeding will be at the minimal rate.
If you have your farm, I have my farm, we will be able to eat good food. Less what's it called, fertilizer, because at times when you eat all this food being produced by fertilizer, you don't know what the thing will do you on your body, to be hazardous. So, but if you plant, or at times you use organic manure, if you have your own, I have my own, one essential thing that the inflation will definitely come down.
While they suggest that returning to the culture could change the narrative in the battle for food security, others believe that the government can play a reasonable role in effecting the desired change.
I think we need to start farming, both youth, everybody have to start farming with the condition of Nigeria now, the economic of things. Where people can have garden, where they can plant vegetable, cassava for organic protection, those things, it will help. And also I think government should help in providing working materials, machines for farming, and also fertilizer to help the farmers.
Government of Nigeria can even come and give us like fertilizer and give us some people who have nothing to do, give them loan.
Subsistence farming was a thing of pride in the past, as it was a one home, one farm kind of settlement among most Nigerians, while those who were not into subsistence farming were often into commercial farming. Either way, every home had a connection with a farm, thereby making food items very affordable, a situation Nigerians are currently craving for. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
Now, the National Hajj Commission, NARCON, says no fewer than 50,000 intending pilgrims will be performing this year's Hajj. The chairman of NARCON made this known during a press briefing at the Hajj House in Abuja. Herbert Ajayi tells us more.
Preparation for this year's Hajj has been faced with challenges such as inconsistency in the price tag, demand for extra money from intending pilgrims due to the exchange rates, which jacked the fare to 6.8 from the initial 4.9 million that was announced in February. Low turnout by Nigerians, not meeting the allocated seats, has demands for refund of deposited funds by intending pilgrims who could not afford the balance after the increase was effected. The NARCON chairman, who affirmed that the commission has learnt its lessons, described this year's Hajj as one of the most challenging.
But it's something that as a pillar, we all aspire to perform. But like I said, Alhamdulillah, we're almost there. We are happy to announce to you that as of today, Nigerian pilgrims will perform the Hajj, and you are talking about numbers of 50,000 and above. Nobody thought we could achieve that.
Meanwhile, the commission has ordered all states to start uploading the visas of intending pilgrims, noting that activities would be unfolding in line with Saudi Arabia's instruction.
The hosts, which is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, came out with a timeline that you have to work with and within. If you recall, and of course I won't underrate the much assistance you gave in disseminating that information.
He enjoined faithfuls to integrate the Hajj savings schemes to avert this year's shortfall in order to meet up with the Saudis' timeline. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
It's time for business news update with Chamo Dabank. The federal government and the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, is set to launch an upgraded national identity card with payment functionality for all types of social and financial services. The innovative card, made in collaboration with the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, NIBSS, is to be powered by Afrigo, a national domestic card scheme. The head of corporate communications of NIMC, Kayode Adegoke, disclosed this in a statement on Friday. The national ID card, layered with verifiable features, is backed by the NIMC Act No. 23 of 2007, which mandates NIMC to enroll and issue a General Multipurpose Card, GMPC, to Nigerians and legal residents. According to NIMC, the innovation will address the demand for physical identification, enabling card holders to prove their identity as well as access government and private social services. NIMC noted that the only registered citizens and legal residents with a National Identification Number, NIN, will be eligible to request the card. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Friday reduced the exchange rate for computing import duty at the nation's seaports by 5.3%. The reduction is coming less than 48 hours after importers and clearing agents operating at the nation's seaports complained that the customs exchange rate rises higher than the official foreign exchange market rate of the Naira and the United States dollar. The former acting president, Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents, ANLCA, Kayode Farinto, had earlier said fluctuating exchange rate is not helping the import-export sector of the economy. According to Farinto, he advised the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to embrace a quarterly predictive exchange rate. However, it was gathered that customs exchange rate in the Nigerian Trade Hub portal revealed that the exchange rate for cargo clearance has reduced from 1,260 naira 49 kobo to 1,330 naira 36 kobo. The slash represents a 5.3% reduction or differences of 69 naira 87 kobo between the new and the old prices.
Zimbabwe on Friday launched a new currency to replace its previous one that in recent months has been battered by depreciation and in some instances rejection by the population. Authorities hope the new measure will halt a currency crisis underlining the country's years of long economic troubles. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Governor John Mushayavanu said the new currency will be called ZiG and will be anchored on gold reserves and a basket of foreign currencies. It goes into effect on Monday. The Zimbabwe dollar has come under sustained pressure in recent weeks, making it one of the world's worst performing currencies. Since January, the Zimbabwe dollar lost over 70% of its value on the official market and was plunging even further on the thriving but illegal black market. Inflation increased from 26.5% in December last year to 34.8% this January, before spiking to 55.3% in March, according to official figures. That's all for Business News. I am Chamun Dabeng.
Thank you, Chamun, for that business news. And let's go on the international scene, where Russia on Saturday said it had evacuated more than 4,000 people in the Orenburg region, which lies near the Kazakhstan border, due to flooding after a dam burst. Emergency services had been working through the night after a dam burst in the city of Ursk, near the border with Kazakhstan. The press service of the Orenburg governor said, quote, 4,208 people, including 1,019 children, end of quote, had been evacuated, and more than 2,500 homes were affected by the flooding after a dam burst, which followed torrential rains. Russia opened a criminal case on negligence and violation of construction safety rules into the burst of the dam built in 2014. Authorities said the situation was difficult throughout the region, warning of a dangerous water level on the Ural River in the main city of Orenburg. Governor Denis Pasler said the flood had reached its peak, saying the situation was especially difficult in Orsk. And in sports, the number of games Trabzonspor will have to play without fans has been reduced from 6 matches to 4 following an appeal. A 6-match fan ban had been imposed on the Turkish Super League club after their supporters stormed the pitch and fought with Fenerbahce players on 17 March. The club's fine has also been reduced from €74,105 to £11,066 pounds. 1 March suspensions for Fenerbahce players Eric Bayat and Jadin Queen Osterwolde have been upheld. The Fenerbahce pair clashed with supporters at Papara Park in Trabzon after the full-time whistle. 12 fans were arrested following the incident. Fenerbahce considered leaving the Turkish Super League following the incident, but members voted against doing so last week. And just before we go, Susan Mutkai is a member of the Kenya Coast Guard Service and head of search and rescue and diving operations. A deep-seated passion for the ocean has led her to a remarkable career in maritime, certified in various diving and life-saving skills. Mutkai is determined to showcase the maritime sector as a welcoming field for women, breaking traditional barriers through her work and community engagement.
Whenever we see water, we're always in a tense. We're always scared of the waters. But I had colleagues. I had champions who are in the marine sector, and I can call them my mentors when I was employed to Kenya Wildlife Service. And so they encouraged me. And I remember it was 2011 and 2012, whereby there were no ladies doing that, doing the diving activities. I've been in diving sector for 11 years now, and diving is so good, especially when it comes to recreation. We have so many sites in our marines. Like I can name few in Mombasa Marine Park, where we have MV Dania, whereby we go diving. We go see marine life. We go see different types of fish. So whenever you are, I'm diving, I mean, that is a different world. I find myself relaxed. I find myself seeing different things. I find myself in a different world. So I can say, with that experience, I really enjoy diving.
There you have it. And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour tonight. For more news, programs, and documentary, please do also follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I am Chiamaka Nwafo, head of the news production team. Thank you for joining us.